Good. Well, it's not afternoon yet. Good morning. Still considered morning because it's before 12. Okay. Remember me from yesterday? My name is Bumira. I'm gonna teach this session. We're going to talk about consumer behavior. Yeah. Um, but before that, I truly apologize that I should be in the classroom. However, last night my daughter was sick and she is still sick now, so I still have to stay at home to care for her while providing and delivering this course to you. So please accept my apology. But Ibu Adila is in the is on site now. She is in the classroom. And for those who attend the classroom, perhaps you can ask Miss Adila's help if you need anything. All right. Okay. So our topic today is consumer buyer behavior. Consumer behavior. Okay. Miss Adila has explained about marketing. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, that was her session. Now, after you learn about marketing, you are going to learn about consumer behavior, okay? And why it is important for you to understand the consumer behavior is because any marketing strategies, any marketing actions will only be able to develop once we understand our consumers. Yeah. Once we understand who is our consumer, who the market that we are serving, yeah, then we can actually develop the marketing strategies, marketing actions, the product, price, place, promotion, strategy, and all that. Okay. So today's topic, we're going to go through model of consumer behavior, characteristics affecting consumer behavior, and some types of buying decision behavior, including as well the buyer decision process. Okay, the buyer decision process. But before that, can I ask a question? And anyone, whether they are in the classroom or from home, perhaps if you would like to answer my question, please feel free. Think of a situation in the past or recently where you were about to buy a product. Okay. Now think of that moment and then share with us in classroom what went through your mind before you made decision to purchase the product. Okay, anyone would like to share their experience, please? Anything. The product can be anything, but think of that moment and then try to think hard what went through your mind just before you decide that you are going to purchase that particular product or brand or anything. Anyone?
If it's worth it.
Yeah. Who is that?
Eliza.
Okay. Tell me. What did you buy? What was the product and so on?
It was this dog supplement.
Supplement. Okay.
Yes, and I was like considering whether it's worth it to buy or like how many days I will be able to
Okay.
go back.
And when you consider whether it is worth it to buy, what were you thinking? Like, um, did you ever did you ever see the advertising on the media, or have you ever seen your friends taking that supplement, or because of the current situation, or what?
Um, I saw my friends
Mhm.
getting it for their pets basically, and I've like read reviews online about it.
Okay, so you have seen your friends taking the supplement, and then you're trying to search the information on your own, and then you decide whether or not you're going to buy, and then eventually you bought it. Correct?
Yes.
Was there any doubt, just few minutes perhaps, or few hours perhaps, before you made the purchase? Was there any doubt?
Yes.
There was always a doubt, yeah? There was always a doubt.
Yeah.
Last round check. Should I? Should I not? Should I? Should I
Yeah.
not? Yeah.
Even if the product looks good,
Mhm.
it might not be functionally good.
Exactly. Yeah. You start questioning yourself, should I buy this or not? And then sometimes, let's say you are in a store and then you want to buy a product, and then you're so excited to purchase the product from as, as you left the house going to the store, and then you get there, you saw the product, you start thinking, and then you walk around, and then you return to the spot where you want to buy the product, and then you start to realize that I don't think I need this product. I don't think I need this brand. Okay, right? There is always a doubt. But then you think again, and then there's a friend of yours telling you, no, I think this is a good choice, and so on. Then you decide, okay, so you bought the product, or maybe you did not buy the product. So there's always doubt. There are factors that motivate you to purchase the product, and these factors can change over time. Yeah. When you're still at home on your way to the store, you're very sure that you want to get the product. As you get to the store, your surroundings influenced you and made you wonder, should you buy the product after looking at other brands and stuff, right? Okay. And as we are all a multitasker, we're all multitasker people right now. And then, when you purchase a product, you're checking your Instagram, you're checking your Twitter, you're checking your TikTok, you're checking your Facebook, your WhatsApp, whatever. And then you found some reviews about the product, which may not be favorable. So you drop the options to purchase a product, right? So as you see here, consumer behavior is very complex, very complex. We think that, okay, once a person has a motivation to purchase a product, then until the moment he's on the in the store and about to pay, that motivation will never change. It changes. Yeah, it dynamically changes. Okay. Now, um, factors that make you purchase a product could come from any source. Could you please name some of the factors that influence you to decide to purchase a certain product or brand? What would that be? What would the factors that may influence you to decide to purchase a brand? Would it be your friends? Would it be your relatives, family? Or even would it be your own personal experience of the past where you saw other people using that brand, and then you saw that they were quite satisfied with the brand, and they get all the apa namanya, the all from their social circle. They received compliments from people around them that makes you think, should I think I should get that brand, right? So there are so many factors, there are so many variables out there that can shape the behavior of the consumers. And again, consumer behavior is dynamic, it changes as we speak, as we walk. Okay, it changes. Yeah? Now we're going to talk about what are these factors and how that affect the consumer behavior. But first of all, let's understand one thing. Since you are business management and marketing student, so you will need to know the difference between consumer market and business market. Okay, this these two terminologies must be understood very well. So consumer market are or is comprised of all consumers who purchase products for their own personal consumption. So when a person purchases a shampoo, a bottle of shampoo, that person uses that shampoo for her or his personal use, personal consumption. And then there's another market type of market, which is called business market. Well, business market is comprised of those who purchase products not for personal consumption, but to produce other products or to provide other services for the consumer market, for the end users. A salon, hair salon, purchases a purchases a batch of shampoos not for their personal use, not for the personal use of the owners, but for providing hair wash services for the customers. So you have to understand that there are two kinds of markets: consumer markets and business markets. Okay. Now, what we're going to talk about today, mostly on consumer market, when we talk about people, when we talk about consumers who purchase products for their own personal consumption. Okay. Now, if we understand that is consumer market, then what is consumer buyer behavior? So consumer buyer behavior is a study of the buying behavior of the end users, or we call it final consumers, or we call it individuals, consumer market, for personal consumption. And when we talk about buying behavior or consumer buyer behavior, it does not stop at the stage where the consumer purchased the product. It goes along the line before the consumers purchase the product, when the consumer purchased the product, and after the consumer purchased product, or during the consumption, and even when the consumer decides to stop consuming the product. That is all considered as consumer behavior. So when you purchase a smartphone, and then after 3 or 4 years, you decided to sell your smartphone, and then because you're going to buy the new one, whatever you do with your old smartphone is part of your consumer behavior. If you decide to keep it, that is how you stop consuming that particular smartphone. If you decide to sell it, resell it in the secondhand market, that is another behavior of consumers who choose to stop using the brand or product. Okay. Now, remember when I say that the consumer behavior is dynamic, it changes. Yeah? This is a model that allows you to get a grasp or understand what actually makes consumers to act in a certain way. What actually makes consumers to provide responses that may be different from one another. Okay. So we as a consumer just portray ourselves or imagine ourselves as a consumer. We are buyer. Yeah, we're buyer. So we give response because there is a stimuli. Stimuli, response, model. There's a stimuli, and then there's a response. Now, the environment is the stimuli. Everything around us is considered as stimuli, which can be classified into two things: the marketing stimuli and other kind of stimuli. So the marketing stimuli, that would include product, price, retail services, stores, yeah, how the product is distributed, placed, how the product is advertised, that is promotion, yeah, how the social media for that particular product is designed and delivered. Okay, those are all the marketing stimuli, which means that these stimuli come from the marketing or the company or the firm. Okay. You saw a product in a store, you saw an ad in your Instagram feed, yeah. You saw a price shown in a price tag of a product, yeah. Everything is considered, everything that I said earlier about the marketing stimuli, that is considered as a stimuli. Now, other stimuli would include something like economic. Do you have enough money? Okay. What's your income? Technological. Okay. Social. Whether people around you use that product. How would the behavior or attitude of your social circle? What brands do they love? Cultural. These are also the stimuli. Okay. What does your culture teach you about something? That would also affect how you respond to it, how you respond to the stimuli. Yeah. Now, all of these stimuli comes into the buyer's black box. It's called buyer's black box um, because it is not hidden. Yeah, it is placed deep in the mind of the customers, of the buyers. And what is considered as buyer's black box are the characteristics of the buyers and the decision process. All of these stimuli go into the black box, mingling with the buyer's characteristics, with the buyer's decision process, and it results buyer responses. And what are these buyer responses? It can be buying attitudes. It can be preferences. Preferences means that whether you like one brand over another, or you prefer this product over another. That is preferences. Yeah. Another buy responses would be something like purchase behavior. What you buy, when, where, and how much, and how the process is. And also another buy responses would be the relationship behavior between the consumers and the brand and the company. Yeah. So these are the buyer responses that come as a result of the combination of environment and the buyer's black box. Okay. Now, can anyone, share a story or describe a story to us, your journey, since your journey in a in purchasing or liking a certain brand, starting from looking at the stimuli, and also when the stimuli gets into the black box. Can anyone tell me a story? Can anyone tell us the story or share with us the story of the journey to make decision on purchasing a certain brand? Yes, Ayman.
First, look at the product.
Mhm.
Does the product look good?
Mhm.
Yes. The packaging look good. Then look at the seller.
Look at
Look
the
at the seller.
okay.
Look at the prices
Look at the price. Okay.
so that
Now,
you can.
yeah, you said look at the product and if the product looks good and all that. Which one? I mean, what is considered good or bad for you? Packaging. Let's talk about let's say you purchase food products.
Yeah,
Yeah, food products. I
you
mean, people
taste it.
purchase, people buy food. Yeah, people buy food every day. They send go food. They order food and all that. So let's say you purchase food products, and then you said something about the product looks good or not. So what constitutes as good for you, and what constitutes as not good for you?
How the food is presented,
Oh, okay, how the food is presented. Yeah,
packaging.
the packaging. And do you like the packaging that is simple, or you like packagings with colors and stuff like that?
Personally, I would rather keep it simple
Okay, so the
for
simpler the
food. That
packaging,
is,
yeah, the simpler the packaging, the more interesting it is for you, yeah?
yeah. In case
Okay.
of food,
In case of food, okay. What about smartphones? Does packaging
nah,
matter for you?
it does.
Mm-hmm.
If it looks good.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it well, simple is good, but
Okay.
the colors are definitely also a plus point. Plus point.
Okay. So not just the packaging, but also color.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I would like to ask other student here, does anyone have um, the same criteria with Ayman? For smartphone, I look at the simplicity of the packaging and the color. While for food, I just look at the simplicity. Yes, Timothy. Who else?
I guess for food, I prefer packaging that's more hygienic because like right now it's better to be hygienic, right? Like as for the
Okay.
packaging, like double layers and stuff. I guess for a phone,
Mm-hmm.
what I look at now is the size of the packaging because right now they're like some phone companies are removing chargers right from the
Mm-hmm.
packages and
Yeah.
making it
Yeah.
small.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I try to look for if I were to change my phone again, I guess I would look for the ones that still include the charger. So I don't
Okay.
have to
All
go
right.
through the trouble again. But
All right.
due to my customer loyalty to Samsung, I guess I still buy it though.
Okay. All right. Good. So you said, okay, um, for food, you want something hygienic. Yeah. For smartphones, you want something perhaps bigger because that tells the the buyer that hey, there's a charger in it because the packaging is bigger, right? Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you. Who else? Who else wants to share? Who answered before? Who was answering? Who was it? Timothy?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So Timothy has that preference, and then Ayman has another preference. Okay, any more student? Could you please tell me what is your preference about this packaging thing?
Maybe we can try for those in the classroom. Yeah, to
Yes,
answer. Yes. Come on, guys. One of you perhaps would like to give examples. Verga? Yeah, I mean for purchasing, what do you consider?
Um, well, everybody has their own opinions of what is their favorite type of packaging. But personally, for me, I think I like simplicity.
Okay.
Yeah, the modern.
Simplicity and modern design. Okay.
modern design. Okay, noted.
All right. Good. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, great. Now, so here we see how three people, you guys are from the same age, you guys go to the same school, go to the same program, you're all male consumers, but you guys have different tastes, different preferences, right? Why? Because of that buyer's black box. So Ayman will not be interested in complicated packaging of food, right? And he wouldn't purchase a bland color of smartphones, correct? But Ayman will purchase, you know, a nice color of a smartphone and simple packaging of food. While Timothy, he doesn't care about the simplicity as long as it reflects hygienic, right? Hygiene. As long as it looks hygiene, then I don't mind whether the color will be red atau kuning or whatever. Yeah, as long as it looks hygiene, it's good to me, right? And then Ferga, yeah, Ferga, yeah. Ferga wants something modern, okay? And again, one thing from Timothy, if I buy smartphone, I'll look for bigger packaging because it tells me that there's a charger there. The simpler the packaging, the more I resist to purchase that smartphone because I know based on my past experience and information that that particular packaging means no charger if the packaging is very simple, right? So you see here exactly, you saw the same stimuli, the same product, the same packaging, but your responses would be different simply because your characters are different, your decision process are different, the requirement to purchase a product are different among three of you. And that's why your attitude toward the same exact thing would also be different. Yeah. Okay. So you understand now that that is consumer behavior. Even people or consumers from the same social circle, the same gender, the same age, they still can be distinguished based on their characteristics, based on their personality, based on their past experience. And those are all what we're going to learn about consumer behavior, how different personality will affect the way consumers or somebody or people make decisions, how motivations, how learning process, yeah, learning. For example, Timothy made a good point. I learned that nowadays smartphones don't give out apa namanya charger, and therefore without charger the packaging is smaller and simpler. But I like smartphones with chargers, so I avoid I avoid smartphones that are packaged in small packaging. So again, that is a learning process that Timothy acquired. Yeah, I myself am not aware that now phones are not coming with the charger. So when I see sleek design, when I see a simple packaging, Bumira will purchase that because, oh, it's nice. And then voila, I open it, no charger, right? Again, you see here how different aspects actually shape the way consumers behave and make decisions. Yeah, and that's exactly what we're learning in consumer behavior. Okay, great. Thank you, guys, for your participations in this part. Yeah. Okay. Now, I said earlier, yeah, there's a lot of factors affect consumer behavior. These are the factors, and these factors can be categorized under four major groups. Yeah, cultural, social, personal, psychological. Yeah, so there are four main groups of factors that influence consumer behavior: cultural, social, personal, and psychological. Okay. Within the group of cultural, there are three sub-factors, yeah, three members, three elements of each group. The elements of cultural are culture itself, the subculture, yeah, social class. Those are the three elements or dimensions of the cultural. When we talk about social groups, what are the elements? What are the part of the variable that are considered as social factors? Reference groups, family, roles, and status. Yeah, we'll take a look into that in more details later on. And then there are personal factors. What are the personal factors that can influence consumer behavior? Your age, your life cycle, your occupation, your economic situations. Do you have money, and you know, what's your buying power? Yeah, stuff like that. Your life concept. Those are considered as personal factors. And then there are psychological factors with motivation, perception, learning, beliefs, and attitudes as the elements or dimension. Yeah. Now let's take a look at of each of these. Yeah. Now, culture. What is culture? It is the learned values, the perceptions, wants, and behavior from family and other important institutions. The very easy example and very very common example for this is we are Asians who live on rice, eating rice. Yeah, because it is the culture, it's the learned values. Well, it is part of the culture because eating rice is an artifact of a culture. Yeah, and it's because the Asian countries used to be very the history of it used to be very rely heavily on agriculture, right? Agriculture, and that's why we're very ricey. Yeah? We eat rice. We haven't. We call ourselves. We have not eaten. We have not eaten if we have not eaten rice. Yeah? Even though we have eaten pizza, we have eaten spaghetti and all that. But if we haven't eaten rice, uh, well, not we, but some people would think that we're not eating it. Okay. Now, yeah. So all this culture, okay, the learned values, the learned perceptions that people in Asia receive from their great grandparents or ancestors are, if you want to have strong energy, you have to eat a lot. You have to eat more, and rice give you energy, and those are apa namanya? Those are inherited, yeah, from generation to generation. So intergenerational inheritance of values, and that affect your consumer behavior. That may affect some of your preferences. Then some of you may have spent your childhood outside Indonesia, for example, or outside Asia. Let's say you were born in Europe and you grew up there, and then you spent most of your childhood there until your teenage teenagers period. Even though you are orang Indonesia, yeah, Indonesians, because the culture around you teach different values and perceptions that would shape you to have different preferences for food, preferences for product, perhaps, and the way you make decisions. So that's how the culture around us can shape our behavior as consumer. Yeah. Now remember, in culture itself, there are subcultures. There are subcultures. If we talk about cultures in the US, the United States, for example, the subcultures would be those groups of people within a culture, smaller groups of people, but they share the same values based on common experiences. Yeah? Hispanic American, African American, Asian American, and now cross culture. Because we talk about, if we talk about United States, it's a melting pot now. It's not a salad bowl; it's a melting pot. Okay. Same thing with Indonesia as well, or Asian countries. We have subcultures. Yeah, we have subcultures, and those are called subcultures. As Hispanic American, for example, they prefer burritos. What else? Tacos, nachos, and stuff like that. The Asian American would love to have orange chicken, or General Cho's chicken, or mapo tofu, yeah, in comparison to other subcultures. So you see here again an example of it. Yeah. Now, what is interesting, part of the culture as the factors that affect consumer behavior, not only culture and subculture, but social class is also an element of culture. Now, social class is the society's relatively permanent and order division. Yeah? And sometimes it can be measured, well, not sometimes, most of the times, it is measured by a combination of occupation, income, education, wealth, and some other variables. Yeah? Now, social class, for example, the social class is the thing that makes us realize there is an elite group, and then there's a working class, and then there's a low end class. Yeah. So the order division, the structure, the order in the society that is shaped by occupation, income, education, wealth, and other variables that constitute a social class. And social class is apparently part of a culture. Obviously, different social level, different social class would expect different products. Yeah, preferences for products would be different. Okay, those from certain social class would prefer Louis Vuitton, for example, and those from other social class would prefer, I don't know, Kate Spade, for example, or some other unbranded handbag. Yeah, for example, because of that fact, the fact that social class determines what people prefer. Yeah? All right. Now, remember, okay, we're done with the culture. Now we're talking about the social groups and social networks. So what I'm going to do here, because I think our time is not, we have not quite a lot of time, yeah. So I'm just going to pick some of the elements here that are interesting to discuss. Yeah. Let's talk about reference groups. So reference group is one of the element of social factors that influence consumer behavior. Can I ask this class, who knows what reference groups are? What does reference group is? What is reference group is? Uh, what's the definition? An example. Yeah? And can you relate that with your daily life? Anyone? Anyone raise hand here? What is reference group? It says groups. Okay, I mean, the definition is there, but groups that form a comparison or reference informing attitudes or behavior, which means that groups that are served or groups that serve as our reference when we shape our attitude towards a brand or something, or our behavior towards something, right? So that's reference group. But then who is the reference group in your life? Who do you compare yourself to when you form or when you shape your attitude towards an issue, towards an object, towards a product? Who do you compare with? Whose norm would you conform with? Anyone can share the story? Chat. Social media influencers. Kezia, thank you for the answer. Social media influencers. Social media influencers, yes, you are correct, Kezia. Social media influencers are reference groups. But then we know that there are many types of social media influencers, correct? There are social media influencers that who specialize on skincare, and then there are social media influencers who are focusing on food review, and then there are social media influencers who are naturalists, environmentalists, outdoor activists, enthusiasts, and so on. And then there are social media influencers who basically do not have any skills, but they get, they're popular. And then we're wondering how come they become social media influencers, and we know that they don't have any skills. What are they selling? They're just selling their life every day and making their life as a movie to watch for the rest of the world. And that's how they become popular, yeah. And then so many types of social media influencers. Again, you can narrow it down. Which type of social media influencers that you use as a reference group, right? You may like to follow a comedian. Even though he or she is a comedian, as long as they can influence you using the social media, we call them social media influencers. Yeah. So again, within the reference group, you can narrow it down. Social media influencers, what type? Yeah, what type that you will use as a reference point? Are they sportsmen? Yeah. Are they fashionistas? Right? Are they elite group? Okay, and some of like that. Thank you, Kezia. Reference group other than social media influencers. Who can also be our reference group? Who can also be our reference group?
Maybe let's try the ones in the classroom, yeah?
Yes, please. In the
Yeah,
classroom.
Rajwa?
Celebrities.
Celebrities.
Celebrities. Okay, Rajwa, thank you. So yeah, almost similar perhaps. Yeah, celebrities, social media. I mean, celebrities become social media influencers too. Yeah, and some social media influencers too
Okay.
become
polit-
social media celebrity too. Yeah, correct.
Political speakers.
Political speakers. Yes, very nice. Political speakers or politicians. Yeah, politicians who you think share your aspirations. Yeah, they can be your reference group as well, right?
Musician.
Musicians, yes, musicians, because okay, now you have so many different professions and roles. Yeah, the musician, and there's a politician, there is a celebrity, social media influencers, and all that. My next question: would you always go to that person? Not go ya, not go terus datang nanya gitu enggak ya? Would you always go to that person as a reference in any kind of your purchase situation? Would you always check, yeah, with that person or that reference group in any of your purchasing decision or situation? Not all the time. Yes. Okay.
Not at all times. Not all
Not at
times.
all time. Yeah. Okay. Timothy.
Not really, miss, because there's like probably a difference in like the what do you call it, income also, right? Like sometimes influencers have bigger income, so they can like just easily pay for it. But in the case of like us who are in a different group from them, it's gonna be more difficult, right? So yeah,
Right. Okay. So it
maybe it
also
depends on the price.
exactly. So it depends on, again, if your favorite social media influencers are endorsing a brand, it doesn't mean that you will also use that brand. If you have the money, that's fine. If you don't have the money, then well, some people are apa namanya miskin to look good, you know, getting poor to look rich. You know, there are people who are willing to get poor to look rich. But again, yes, not all time. Yeah, not all time, not in all situations. Now, Rajwa, you say not all the time. Can you give me a specific example when you are not looking or you are not asking for the reference from your favorite, whoever reference group you have?
An example.
Example.
For example, if an influencer is promoting maybe like a skincare brand, not every skincare brand will match your face or anything. So sometimes when you want to buy something like that, it has to be from your own influence compared to other people.
Okay. Okay. I didn't catch the last word. Bu Adila, could you please apa?
Yeah. So basically, what you meant is that
There are like a lot of products that we cannot depend on other people because it might not match with us or it might not physically
yes. Yeah, let's say for example, the skincare example that Raju has given. Yes, so not in that kind of situation, perhaps he will also pay attention to his own skin conditions.
Yeah.
Instead of simply relying on, you know, a celebrities or influencers, maybe endorsement, yeah, or recommendation. All right, good answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Bu Adila, for clarifying. So there are times when we turn to our reference group, and then there are times when we don't turn to our reference group. Simply, if you're logical enough to decide for ourselves, just to look whether we need that product or not. Correct? Yeah. Now, another situation could also be like that. For skincare, I'm giving you an example of my personal situation. For a skincare, I may go to Miss, let's say Miss Brina, for example, and she is my reference group, for example. And again, reference group could be anyone. It does not have to be a popular person. It could be your colleague. It could be your friend. It could be the guy next door. It could be, I don't know, your professor or your boss or anyone. So for skincare, I will turn my attention to Miss Brina, for example, because she knows a lot about skincare, right? For books, and choices of books, I may turn my attention to Miss Adila because do you know that she's a novelist? Miss Adila is also a novelist. You should know this. That's another fun fact about her that should have been shared yesterday, right, Bu Adila? Yeah.
Yes.
So for books, for example, for novels, for storybooks, I would turn my attention to Bu Adila and ask her, what she reads, I will read. If that's about book, because I uh, see her as the apa namanya, as my reference, yeah, for books. Okay. Now, for other things, food, for example, my reference group will be different group of people, different kind of person. So this, what I'm trying to explain here is that your reference group is not the only um, uh, the reference groups that you like do not always affect you in forming your attitudes and behavior, because you may have so many reference groups in your lifetime. Yeah. For music, this is your reference group. For food, that is your reference group. For luxury brand, these people are my reference group, and so on. Okay. So that's how um, reference groups influence consumer behavior. Yeah. We also have membership groups. Yeah? When we are members of a certain community or society or organizations, sometimes we use them as our comparison tool. Yeah. As an academic, as a lecturer, yeah, I would listen to my lecturer colleague, yeah, and follow their norms when it comes to publications, for example. Yeah. What constitute as good journals? It all depends on who I share my organization membership with. If a certain journals or certain publications, yeah, as a lecturer, we have to write and we have to do some research and publish our research. If in this certain organization, certain publisher is praised, then we want to publish in that publishing company, in the journal that is published by that publisher. Yeah. However, for example, if I switch to another university and in that university there's another different publisher that is considered as a highly ranked publisher, then I may switch my attitude to that particular publisher. I may provide a favorable attitude to that particular publisher. So again, this is how groups and social networks will affect our consumer behavior. People we work with, reference group that even we don't know them, sometimes even groups that we are not part of it, but we wish we could be part of it, aspirational group, and that also affect our decision and behavior as consumers. Now, in understanding groups and social networks, also we learned a lot about word of mouth influence, the buzz marketing, how Instagram actually apa namanya, shapes the way we choose products, the way we think, what we like, and so on. And we have opinion leaders. Again, opinion leaders have an association with reference group, because opinion leaders are people within a reference group who actually have social influence on others. Yeah. Okay. Now, I mean, we have seen a lot of examples now that these opinion leaders have been identified heavily by marketers, so that the marketers can use them as the brand ambassadors, because the marketers know that these people can influence big crowd of consumers. Yeah. This is what is interesting. Online social networks. I mean, we're living in the, in in the online world nowadays. Yeah, sometimes we are part of a certain game community. We don't even know who the person we're playing online with, but their values can actually influence the way we see the world, right? So online social networks as an online community, they also affect our consumer behavior. You know, what we see in Facebooks or Instagrams or Twitters, yeah, they all will affect our behavior. And remember, the algorithm of our searching in the Instagram, for example, if you look into mukbang, right? You look into you spend few seconds to watch mukbangs, and then your feed will continue to show people who eat noodles like crazy or people who eat eggs like crazy and stuff. Yeah. And then when you share opinions online in online communities, you basically don't know them, but you take their advice, right? You take their advice because you guys share the same interest. So this is the thing that was not happening, I don't know, 50 years ago, 30 years ago. It wasn't happening like this, but now it is happening. And there's a tendency that consumers tend to listen to online review, even though they don't know who these people are, instead of their next door neighbor. Yeah. So you see the power of social networks, the online social networks in consumer behavior is quite huge. Family. Now we're moving to the social factors, and we have family and social role as the part of the element that affects consumer behavior. Okay. Family is the most important consumer buying organization in society. Do you agree with this? Do you agree with this statement? Excuse me. Do you agree with that statement? Do you think that family is the most important consumer buying organization in society? Well, few years or many years back then, yes, it maybe was, yeah, the most important consumer buying organization in society. But nowadays, family, the definition of family worldwide is reconstructed in a way that a family does not necessarily mean a father, a mother, and children, but it could be household, people who live in the same household and they consider themselves as family. Yeah. So if we're talking about traditional family, of course, that's a mother, father, children, and perhaps their extended family, the pakde, the bude, the the tante, and the grandma, grandpa, and so on. But if we talk about the modern definition of family, it's not just limited into the father, mother, daughter, children, but it could be best friends living together in the same household and they consider themselves as family. Yeah? Regardless, however, a group of people with members that live closely knit to each other, whether or not they're related by bloodline, yeah, they are the most important consumer buying organization in society. Yeah. So again, family here can be understood not only as a traditional family, but also as a modern family. There's a movie, a series, yeah, Modern Family. Right? So yeah, so that's what we understand about family. Now, let's talk about traditional family and how they affected you and your decision. Can you give me an example or tell me the story or experience that you have had once in the past that can be related to this? Was there any situation you purchase a product or you prefer a brand simply because you remembered that was always the brand that your mother bought? Anyone?
Miss me,
Yes.
Mahir. Miss.
Yeah, Maher, yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, oh yeah. My mom always bought me Zara, Miss.
Uh-huh.
When I was still in middle school,
Hmm.
and I still remembered it until now. she always bought me that brand. And when I see that brand in a mall or in any places like around the world, when I saw that brand, I always remembered my mom because she always bought me a clothes from that brand because she tells me that it is a good brand, uh, and I also like the clothes is really comfy and it is have a good quality.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, nice, Maher. Yes, your mom is such a big fan of Zara because
She is.
the brand is a very good fashion brand and so on. And then she always purchased that brand for you and the family, right? And
Yes.
basically, you grew up with that brand. You
Yeah.
grew up with that brand. And
Yes.
now that you're an adult, when you want to purchase clothing or something, you must go to Zara first. Then you consider other brands, right?
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Same thing for cosmetics. Usually, this is for the girls, yeah, because the mom usually use a particular brand, and that will affect their decisions when they're choosing cosmetic brands. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Maher. Anyone else? Would you share your experience?
About how family affects your buying decision.
Yes. About how? Yeah. Anyone? Let me ask you, what do you eat for breakfast?
For me personally, I don't really do
Porridge.
Porridge, bubur ayam, right?
So, sorry, you were saying?
That,
a lot of people affects my decisions. Like if I have something that I really want and I really like, I'll just try it
Okay.
myself.
You are not really influenced by other people in terms of buying. I see. Okay. Yeah, Bumira Giorgio here said that he's not really influenced by others when it comes to purchasing decision. Yeah.
Yeah, which is fine. Yes, everyone is different. You know, you will have consumers who are not. My husband is a type of consumer who is not influenced by anyone when making a purchase decision. And sometimes his choice is very strange. Um, unlike the rest of the world, his choice is very unique. And I'm like, why are you not using this brand, or why are you not, buying that instead? He has his own reasoning. Yeah, he has his own reasoning, and others do not really influence the way he makes decision. Yeah. So yes, who was answering that? Who was sharing that opinion earlier? Bu Adila?
Giorgio here.
Giorgio. Yeah. Yeah. So yes, Giorgio. Some will, in consumer psychology and behavior, there are two types of people: people who are other directed and people who are inner directed. People who are inner directed, they choose what they want to do, what they want to purchase, what they want to spend on, simply because they think they need it. It's more of the motivation that, sorry, my laptop is almost out. It's the motivation that actually drives them to purchase certain things. But the other directed kind of consumers, they rely heavily on what other people say. When other people say this, they follow. When another social media influencers say that, they follow. They rely heavily on reviews of others. But the inner directed consumers, they rely heavily on their own review of a situation. So I bet Giorgio ya tadi ya. Is that true? Is that correct? The name?
That's correct.
Giorgio, you may be one of the inner directed kind of consumer. Yeah, because we have so many different kinds of humans are interesting. It could be complicated sometimes, but they are interesting. Okay, Bu Adila, perhaps you would like to also ask the students what they are having. I mean, like what experience do they have when it comes to family in making decisions? While I'm looking for my charger, because my charger is.
Okay, I see. So in terms of, okay, perhaps I will also be asking for those in the Zoom as well, along the one that is here. would you like to share, let's say, for example, maybe your family or maybe siblings, yeah, parents, siblings, whatever, whoever actually influenced you in terms of purchasing decision? Who wants to share? Felicia, maybe? How does your family or perhaps friend influence purchasing decision? Mhm. Okay. I see. Yeah. Yeah. In a way, because maybe in your situation, if let's say you are not earning yet, yeah, when in the situation where you are not earning yet, when you are when you are unemployed, for example, when you are still students, then perhaps the decision maker is not you per se, but perhaps it is your parents or everybody else who actually has the purchasing power. Yeah. So that is actually influence as well, right, Bumiram? So that's the kind of thing that I would say also influence. Or they can actually be, perhaps you think that they have better fashion sense than you. Yeah, maybe you have older sister, for example, older brother, yeah, who you think actually maybe has better sense when it comes to fashion. Then you ask his or her opinion, yeah, with regards to maybe the clothing piece that you would like to purchase.
Yeah.
So yeah, would you like to continue?
Yes, thank you, Badila. So I found my charger and I've charged it. Yeah. So what is interesting also about family, it does not always have to be in the context of a mother, father, children. It could be in the context of a joint decision making between husband and wife. For example, marketers also want to spot who makes decision in financial investment, for example. Marketers of the, oh ya, sekarang kan banyak itu tuh apa namanya, you know, the dana reksa, ya, MNC investment and stuff like that, you know, cryptocurrency trading and stuff. So in a joint decision making, these companies would like to know who actually makes decision for investment. Is it the husband or is it the wife? Yeah. One research found that apparently investment, decision on investment is actually in the hands of the wife. But another paper shows that no, in other culture, now you see here, this is the interaction with culture and family, investment is in the hand of the husband. Another culture shows that decisions to purchase a car is actually in the hand of the wife, because the wife knows how many kids they have, whether this will fit. With 3 kids, will our kids fit into the car and so on? Yeah. So again, that is the scope of how family affects the consumer behavior, consumer buying behavior in that context. Yeah. What is interesting as well, there has been a great research, and the theory has still been used until now, that when your kids, when your children, up to your preteens, your family is the major source of influence. Yeah, up until you're in SMP lah, preteens. Once you're in preteens and teens, the family influence starts to fade away, and your classmates, your friends, your hangout people, yeah, they start to step in your life and influence you. So preteens until preteens, and then teens and adolescents, people around us, those are the most influential group in our life. So there has been, a past research on that, and the theory is still used until now. Yeah. Okay. Do I still have time? What time is it? I still have time, right? Yes. All right. So other than family, we have also social roles and status. Each of us belongs to a group of people, to a family, or to organization. Yeah, each of us, you and me, Bu Adila, everyone belongs to a certain group or certain family or certain social circle or organizations or clubs. Now, our role may be different from one circle to another circle. In my academic life circle, my role and Bu Adila's role are as educator, academics, lecturers. But in the family, we are still our parents' children. Yeah. Even though you have degree of a doctoral degree or PhD, your role in a family is still the child, the daughter, the son of your parents. And sometimes your parents will still tell you to eat your greens, eat your veggies, even though you already have a doctoral degree, for example. But your role at work in the organization can be different. Yeah. Now, because of that, because of the status and the roles of people can be different in different social circle, that also affects the way you make decisions on consumption. Obviously, as an executive of a company, you wouldn't choose to go to work with I don't know, with a sandal, jepit, and sarung gitu ya, unless that becomes a trend in the next 10 years. Yeah. But right now, still, you go to work with a suit, with a nice shoes and everything because you're an executive of the company. However, when you hang out with your family and friends, you may take off all those image and you become a more laid back kind of a person, and you choose different kind of brands for different kind of situation. Well, some may not be like that. Yeah? Some will stay stiff even though they're at work and they're in their social environment. Some adapt. In the work, they're like this. In the environment, in the informal circle, they act different way. Yeah? Some may adapt, but some may be consistent in holding on to their roles and status, and therefore in their choices of consumption as well. Yeah. Okay, up to this point, is there any questions before we move on? Anyone? Maybe
Do you guys have any question?
in the classroom? Am I boring? Or be honest, tell me.
No, miss, not boring, miss.
Okay, we're okay, we're good.
Yes, miss.
All right.
Yes, miss.
Okay, just tell because I can understand listening to people, listening to someone's talking like more than an hour, it could be dreading and boring. I've been a student too in my life, and I've had that situation where my docent is so boring and I fell asleep in the classroom. I had that moment. So I just want to check with you. All right. Okay, if there are no questions, then I can move on to the other characteristics, yeah? Personal factors. So personal factors, these are different from psychological factors, obviously. So personal factors include things such as age and life cycle, yeah? Do you remember when you were 12, what did you consider as a hot thing or cool stuff? Anyone? You were 12, and at that time, what was the cool? Yeah, Ayman.
Toys.
Toys.
I don't play toys anymore. Once
What kind of characters of toys?
I'm 12.
Yeah. What kind of characters of toys that you would drool for? What kind of ito? Maher.
Yes, miss.
Yeah.
When I was in 12, I like Lego, miss.
Lego. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I create a Lego.
All right. You're into Lego when you're 12.
Yes, miss. I'm into
How
Lego.
old are you? How old are you now?
19, miss.
19. Is Lego still cool for you?
Sometimes I create, miss, because Lego is quite fun, and I like it until now, miss. I still create some of it until now, miss.
So there are toys that we will still like until we're old. Yeah. Lego is always cool. Yeah. Right.
That is cool, yeah, miss.
Okay. Somebody raised hand. Siapa tadi? Siapa tadi raise hand? Oh, I saw girl's name raised hand. Why are you gone? Okay, the girls, ladies. Let me see, siapa nih? Yang ladies, ayo coba. What was cool when you were 12? And what is not cool anymore now when you're 19? Chat, siapa nih chat? Tamagotchi, okay. Barbie, Hannah. Hannah, are you still liking Barbie now?
No.
Oh, yeah? No, what is cool for you now?
um,
What do you think is cool?
like fashion and
Like
something like that.
fashion?
Yeah.
Okay, so fashion, yeah. Little Pony, Charlene, yes, Little Pony. You know, the other day I had a talk with my 10-year-old daughter because she's into what game? Are you in? Huh? Genshin Impact or something like that. And then I said, Genshin Impact. I told her not to play Genshin Impact because that's for 12 above, right? And then so she was quite upset because I uninstalled her Genshin Impact. And then she said, well, can I play that when I'm over 12 years old, when I'm in junior high, like if I'm 13 or 14? I said, yeah, of course, but you may not be liking that Genshin Impact anymore as you grow old. Oh, I will still like it, she said. I said, remember when you were 6? Were you going crazy with Little Pony? Well, yeah, I still like Little Pony. Yeah, of course you still like Little Pony, but have I ever seen you playing with your little ponies for the past 3 years or 2 years? No. Yeah. Which means that we all evolved, right? We all evolved. Not to mention from 12 to 19, from 6 to 10, or from 7 to 10, the preferences can evolve. Yeah. From a Little Pony to Roblox, yeah, and so on. Okay. So again, age and life cycle will affect your behavior, yeah, as consumers and your choice or preferences for products. Yeah. All right. Other than age and life cycle, yeah, occupation, of course, also affects the goods and services we bought. You know, economic situation, of course, also. Um, um, with the economic situations, your personal income will define what you want to buy. The plafond atau the rate, the ceiling for your savings, it also will influence what you should buy, yeah, and so on. Okay, occupation. You know, right now you're students, you're looking for something, you know, goody with affordable price, yeah. But later on, you may not want to eat on the street food, you know, because you already have more money and you have better understanding of hygiene, so you don't want to eat in the street apa namanya food street food gitu ya, or something else. Okay, lifestyle as a personal factors. Lifestyle, can anyone share and describe who they are in terms of lifestyle? What do you see yourself? How do you see yourself based on lifestyle? Let's see. Come on, ladies. Ladies nih. Siapa nih yang ladies? Atau anyone from the classroom, perhaps?
Okay. Who hasn't spoken? Okay, sorry, the lady sitting behind Giorgio. Sorry, what's your name just now? Neta. Yeah. Okay, Neta.
Neta.
So how would you describe your lifestyle? Sorry? Simple, okay. Are you an outdoorsy person? Do you love outdoor activities? You are an indoor person, okay. What's your hobby? I think I asked you, but I forgot that, sorry. listening to music. Yeah. So maybe you are more art loving person, yeah, compared to perhaps sport loving friends of yours here. Okay.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you. Siapa namanya tadi?
Neta.
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 Thank you, Neta. Neta is indoor person, love music and all that, right?
Mhm.
Have you guys seen, you know, when you follow Instagram, sometimes some accounts that you follow did polling, right? Mountain or sea, what night, candlelight dinner or lunchtime or something like that. And then you know, you're interested in participating in the polling and stuff. That is actually a simple example of a reflection of your lifestyle, because your lifestyle is measured by your activities, your interest, and your opinion about something or about life in general. Okay. So marketers actually measure your lifestyle based on your activities, your interests, and your opinions. We, as not we, well, marketers capture this information to understand who you are in terms of the lifestyle. Yeah. You may have seen polling where the picture of a stiletto versus rugged or sneakers, yeah, and then designer's handbag versus backpack, you know, and something else, yeah, food, hot soup and versus cold soup, for example. These are all actually a way to understand, you know, the consumer's lifestyle. What kind of life are you loving to live? Yeah. And that is again personal factors. Obviously, I mean, that example is clear enough to show how lifestyle can actually affect your choice for products or for consumption. Another is a personal another personal factors are personality, and this is the unique psychological characteristics that tends to stay consistent in a long term, but personality can change too. Yeah. However, personality in general last quite a long time. Yeah. Until certain situations, certain circumstance happen or occur, and that person or that consumers may change their personality due to other external factors. There are so many types of personality, not types, yeah, types of personality. Many researchers classify different ways to categorize personality. For example, there's a 5 big trait personality. Perhaps you can help me out, Bu Adila. I also forget what they are. Extrovert.
Version? Extroversion? I don't, neurotism, is it? Neurotism. Neurotism. Can't remember the other 3 actually.
Introvert. My 10-year-old here is participating answer. Extrovert. Yeah, well, extrovert. Agreeableness, you know.
Oh yeah, agreeableness. Yeah.
Apalagi sih. Yeah, I can't remember either. But there are so many types of personality that determines the way consumers behave. For example, those who are extrovert. Remember earlier I said other directed and inner directed. That is another personality type. Yeah. So same thing, extrovert versus introvert. Some people are neuroticism, get anxious easily, and some people are quite, you know, cool, not getting anxious easily. That also affects the way they behave in the consumer market or in the marketplace. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Now talking about the psychological factors, this is the last factor categories that affect the consumer behavior. There are 4 of them: motivation, perception, learning, beliefs, and attitudes. Motivation is understood as a need that is not satisfied yet, and therefore drive the consumer to find fulfillment to the unsatisfied needs. Yeah? That's motive. So if that's the definition, can you give me an example of a motive that can drive consumers to make certain choices or certain act in their consumption context? Anyone? What is the motive? An example of a motive. You know, if you watch detective movies, you know, and then there's a criminal, and then okay, what's the motive? You know, there's always that question. But this is a kind of different kind of motive, yeah. But you know, what is the example of motive? Anyone?
Maybe Jason, you want to try? What drives you to consume something? What is your motive of consumption?
Yeah. What is the unsatisfied need that you're trying to close? And you know,
What drives you to consume something?
I think it's what I need.
Is what, sorry?
It's what I need.
Is what you need. Yeah, but what kind of need are we talking about here? You can give example.
For example,
Clothes, okay.
there is, for example, like, for example, breakfast. We use when you're in a certain situation where you
Okay.
want to go outside.
All right.
For example, there are food or
Okay, yeah, I can understand. Okay, so Bumira, example given here is like, for example, buying a piece of clothing, let's say coat or jacket. Yeah, so it may be driven by maybe certain occasion. Yeah, maybe the weather, for example. Yeah, you purchase a coat because you want to travel to a four-season country, let's say. Yeah, so yeah, that's also a motive. Yeah, thank you, Jason.
okay, thank you, Jason. Yeah, so that would be a motive based on functions. Yeah, well, because you're going to a four-season country, and then of course and it's going to be winter there. Obviously, you're not going to wear a t-shirt and or tank top with the shorts, right? So you purchase a certain clothing because there is a motive for you. You have a goal. You're going to somewhere that requires you to have that specific kind of clothing. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Now, if we're talking about motivation, psychological motivation, yeah, then we can see here. I think you guys in high school have seen this, perhaps. Yeah, this is very popular. Yeah, Maslow hierarchies of needs. Yeah, that people have basic needs starting from physiological needs, and then moving on to safety, moving on to the social needs, esteem, and then the last one is self-actualization needs. Yeah. Now, these are the types of needs that are more psychological. You know, these are more psychological, and this is the thing that we're talking about. Um, when you try to fulfill your physiological needs, meaning hunger, yeah, you're hungry, are you going to Wolfgang steak or you're going to nasi padang pagi sore? Which one would you go? You're hungry, like crazily hungry. Would you rather go to pagi sore restaurant? Assuming that you like both kind of food, ya. You like steak, you like nasi padang gitu ya. Ada answer? Any answer?
Si Padang, Miss. Nasi Padang, Miss.
Nasi padang ya.
Yeah.
Now, when you're trying to entertain your business colleague, yeah, or your potential investor, or your old friend who has not seen you for a long time, and you have this need to impress him or her, would you take her to sederhana or pagi sore, or Wolfgang steak up in apa namanya, Elysees SCBD? Which one? Yeah, I would definitely go to Wolfgang steak, yeah, because the needs that I'm trying to fulfill here in taking my old friend is to get a recognition. So you see here, even for certain kind of activity, eating, yeah, the choice could be different simply because we have different needs to fulfill. When you're hungry, you go for the cheap, fast, and plenty of food. Yeah. when you're hungry like crazy. But when you have the need to amuse others, to get recognition for the action of eating, you're not going to go to the warung. You're going to go to somewhere fancy, classy, high price, sometimes crazily overpriced. Yeah, for something as small as a, eraser or something, steak as small as eraser, but charge you with an overpriced meal. Yeah. But again, it all depends on the needs that we're trying to fulfill. So that is motive, and that's how motive can actually um, drive what we want to choose. Yeah. All right. Next is perception. Okay. Sorry. Before we move on, anyone, any questions you would like to ask, or you want to share something, experience in the past with regards to motivation and how it affects your decision? No? Okay. Then we'll move on. Yeah. Question or not?
No question from the classroom.
Okay, thank you. Now we move on to perception. Is the process how people actually select, organize, and interpret any information so that they have a meaningful picture of the world. Okay, perception. Let's choose a celebrity. Kardashians. What's your perception of them? Do you have certain perceptions toward the Kardashians? The celebrity, the Kardashians family. Are you?
I think depends on which Kardashian we are talking about.
True. I was gonna go to that as the next question. Which Kardashian, right? Whether it's the Bruce Jenner or the Kim or the mother or the other Kardashians, right? Yeah. Let's say the whole family. Some may have negative perceptions and negative attitude towards the family because they think that these celebrities do not have any certain skill sets, but they are popular. That they're the kind of, I get popular because I hang out with the popular people, not because I have certain skill sets. Yeah. And then some people really hate them, they despise them and so on. But then some other have different perceptions, yeah, and think that, well, you can say that that's annoying because you don't have any skill set and you just sell your popularity simply because you're hanging out with the popular people. But look at the other side. To do that, they could have been feeling embarrassed because knowing that the world would judge them like that, but they continue going. Yeah, they persistently going to whatever they're trying to achieve. Yeah, whatever they're trying to achieve, and about ignoring what the world say about them. So these two different perception of or towards the same object, yeah, is how we as human select, organize, and interpret information around us to form a picture of what we see. Yeah. And that has something to do with the upbringing as well and who you're hanging out with. If your upbringing is positive, yeah, then you will always try to look the positive sides. But if your upbringing is full of hatred, if you only select stimuli that is full of hate or stimuli that is worth of gossip, yeah, for example, like the netizen, yeah, then your perception will be different. So that's how perception. Because we attend to things that we choose to attend. We are doing selective attention. We're doing selective distortion. We are also selective retention. We only retain information that we want to retain. Because our memory cannot retain a lot of things. So we just retain what we want to retain. We pay attention to the only thing that interests us, and other things are not important, then we ignore them. Yeah. So that's perception and how the perception and not how, but that is perception, and perception can affect the consumer behavior. Okay. Well, learning, this is another psychological factors. This is the change in individual's behavior based on experience and occurs, throughout. And this is the combination of drive, stimuli, cues, responses, and reinforcement. Reinforcement, for example, the reinforcement theory says that if you receive good or positive imbalan, positive rewards of certain act, you will tend to redo that act. Yeah. But if the outcome of your action is nggak nyenengin gitu ya, painful, then you will stop. Yeah, you will stop. That action will not be reinforced. Yeah. So again, the example of earlier about the smartphones, siapa tadi yang kasih contoh smartphones? Okay, I learned that smartphones nowadays are sold without charger, and when they're sold without charger, their boxes are smaller. Okay, that is a learning process. That person, siapa tadi? Timothy, ya? Yeah, Timothy. Next time he sees phones with sleek and simple packaging, he will be warned that this phone will not come with charger. That's a very simple example, but that is learning. That is learning based on past experience, based on others' experience. Yeah, you form a certain action because you learn based on experience about something. Yeah. All right. I think this is the last one. Beliefs and attitudes. Yeah. What are beliefs? What are attitudes? So beliefs is it's a thought about a thought that we have about something. Yeah, based on our knowledge, based on our opinion and our faith. So that's a belief. Yeah, keyakinan, belief. While attitudes, it describes our evaluations that are relatively consistent, our feelings and our tendency toward an object or idea. This is basically attitudes is our like or dislike tendency towards something. If I like something, that means I have a positive attitude toward that something. Yeah. And belief and attitude goes hand in hand. Certain belief will make you having certain attitudes. Yeah. And those beliefs and attitudes will affect your consumer or your behavior. Okay. All right. Any questions from here? I think we are finishing on time. We're supposed to be done by 12:40, if I'm not mistaken, and we're finishing early, 3 minutes earlier. I'm providing that spare of time for you. If you would like to ask questions or making comments, feel free, please. Or from the classroom, anyone?
Do you guys have any question? No? It's clear, okay.
All clear? All right, then. So if
All clear, miss.
Okay, no questions. All right.
All right.
So if there are no more questions, I think the session of the consumer behavior stops right here. Yeah, Miss Adila, thank you.
Okay. Yeah.